Welcome to the Sports Show. This is Emdad, the Wandering Londoner, who is your host once again for an episode which I'm excited by, which I hope you'll enjoy, you'll savour, and I hope you definitely all will be inspired by today. My guest today is a father and son duo, a 15-year-old who recently became champion, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, in his chosen discipline. So, as we always mention on the Sports Show, it's all about discipline on the Sports Show, but most importantly, it's all about celebration. And what we tend to do, the ethos and focus that we have here on LB24, and me personally as a coach who's been involved for over 4 decades in grassroots sports, is to help and play a little part in helping to elevate these stories and bringing them to public attention. Now with me here in the studio today is Adam Choudhury and his father Mustaq Choudhury. Welcome to the show, guys.
Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much for accepting our invitation to be here. And I want to get straight into it because I'm really excited about the discussion that we're going to have here today as well. And even before we've stepped into the studio, Mustaq and Adam, I've been thoroughly inspired by what I've read into your careers, both of your careers as well, but what's happening as well, and obviously the promise of things to come. Now, if we start with you, Adam, you are a 15-year-old, okay, you live in Newham, you attend Brampton Manor, so a very, very good school, very, very good grounding, you're getting yourself a good education, which is very, very important at the same time. Now, your chosen discipline, or punishment, as some people would like to call it, is karate. Okay, so as we like to do on the Sports Show, tell us a little bit about your life. You're only 15 years old. You haven't even done your GCSEs yet. But what's your story and your pathway into karate?
So when I was 5 years old, that's when I started karate. I used to go to my local karate club. And then I just enjoyed it and I took it to the next level when I won my first competition. It was called the Barking Open. And then I really enjoyed it, so I carried on, and then I got more medals, so I just carried on. Now I got a Commonwealth gold medal, so I hope to achieve the World Championship medal and possibly go to Olympics in 2032, where I hope to win that as well.
Amazing aspirations, amazing aspirations. And Mustaq, just going on from that first, it's a bit electrifying how we made this start to the Sports Show interview here today as well. He's already mentioned championships. Which just goes to show the standing. You know, confidence is very, very good. There's a very distinct difference between confidence and arrogance.
Correct.
Again, I'm going to repeat that. There's a distinct difference. Not just a difference, a distinct difference. And the first thing that I've noted immediately is the confidence. He's very humble. You can tell from his demeanour generally. He's very, very humble, but at the same time, he's not lacking in confidence as well. And again, I'm going to start off with you on the parental side as well. Just how important is it for us as parents, especially when it comes to children following a pathway, whether it's in education or whether it's a chosen discipline or whether it's crucially in this case when it's sport, to play our part in instilling confidence in our children?
Right, when it came to, especially as a parent, for me and my wife, we always wanted our child to get involved in some kind of sport. Nowadays, the mainstream sport is football. There's a lot of money in football. But making our children footballers, maybe our children are never going to be footballers. So we decided to put him into a couple of sports just to see what he likes, what he may be good at. Initially, when he was 3, we put him into gymnastics, which is quite different for someone from our community, our culture, to put a child into gymnastics. He enjoyed it. It was an hour a week, became 2 hours because he slightly started getting better. From that, the karate club he was talking about, it was actually within the gymnastics building. It opened up, we put him into that. Again, he enjoyed it. We supported his passion as parents. Like he said, it just kind of started, it was like it's a roller coaster ride still for us. It's just going up and up. It's moving forward. Of course, there's been ups and downs. Again, the level he's at is a great level, but we always kind of installed in him and our belief, You joined karate to learn karate, to enjoy, understand, learn the discipline. Now you've got to the competition side, so the competitive side. Don't forget traditional karate, because sometimes what it is, we follow that high and everything and then forget our basics, our base. Again, there's a lot of where he travels. He's been to, how many countries you've been to now? 47 different countries. And some of the countries we've been to a few times because competitions are run in those countries, in Asia, mainly in Europe, and now, of course, traveling to Africa and competing there. And parents, I believe, are the people that make the difference. You need to give your child the support. Yes, financially, let's not talk about financially, but mentally just help them as well, and believe in the path. Do your research if you don't know the subjects or the sport. And I think that's possibly, for us as a personal experience, that's what's worked for us. And it's not us as parents, we've got the whole family. We've got a whole karate fraternity, a karate family, the school. There's a lot of people behind this individual. When he performs, yes, 99% of the achievement, what he's performing is him. But that 1%, people forget, there's about 100 people involved in that 1% to make him that 100%.
Adam, we're going to work back in reverse. You've got an illustrious career only at the age of 15. But a phenomenal achievement for you is very recently you participated in the Commonwealth Championships in South Africa. And again, I'm sure it's not a surprise to anybody who knows you, but for, should we say, the world, because of the social media age now as well, we could be sitting in the studio here on the sports show, but this is an interview watched by thousands of people all over the world. This will come as a very pleasant surprise, a surprise nonetheless, but a pleasant surprise. So what you did, not only did you participate in the Commonwealth Championships, but you also struck gold. Fantastic achievement at the age of 15. Can you tell us about the tournament, a little bit about the pre-preparation for the tournament, and then your thoughts on the tournament, and then obviously we'll talk about your feelings when you actually struck gold.
So before the tournament, I was very excited, but I was nervous at the same time because this was one of the biggest competitions I'm ever going to go to. So I was practicing every day, at least 2-3 hours every day, strength and conditioning. I was practicing my katas, my fighting, my kumite. And then when I went to a competition, I was watching some fights before my category was on, and I saw the level was like really high. So I was nervous, but I was excited at the same time again. And then when I went on the mat in Qatar, I got third. I was really happy with it. But then straight afterwards, I had kumite, so my fighting. So I won my first round 9-0. So then I was like prepared for the final and really happy. And then in the final, I was able to win 7-4. And these were like really strong fights, so I was really happy. And I was emotional at the same time because this is the biggest medal I've ever gotten in my life. So me and my parents were proud and emotional at the same time. Like I couldn't stop crying until I went off the mat.
Amazing, and congratulations, huge congratulations. I think that not only are you grateful, we were talking recently on the sports show about being grateful and having gratitude in terms of celebration, but also in terms of personal development as well. But I think we can also mention pride here as well. The community are full of pride for what you've achieved so far. Congratulations on that. Mustaq, your thoughts as a parent. I know he's got specialist coaches with him, and he's had coaches he's been surrounded by coaches since Adam was a child as well. But like we discussed, me as a coach, I always make a huge point of the establishment, and also just letting the kids know that, you know, you do have parents there. You know, sometimes you might have single parent families, for example, but usually, you know, with both parents as well, you do realize, it's part of my coaching ethos to talk to children and say, look, when you enjoy your success, don't ever forget the people who were there, your coaches, but also your parents as well. Again, talking about the Commonwealth Championships, your thoughts?
We were preparing for this competition for over a year ago. The Commonwealth Championship in karate was supposed to be held in Bangladesh. It was supposed to be held in September this year, but due to our political reasons and riots that happened earlier this year, it got cancelled. And then he was training in Thailand at the time. So we were in Thailand for just over a month. So one of his coaches is an Asian national champion, also a former Thai national coach who trains him. So we were actually getting our training there. And when we heard that, it was kind of heartbreaking because the preparation we were making for a long time. Adam now represents Bangladesh internationally. Previously, he was representing England, but for the Commonwealth Games, we were going to represent Bangladesh. That's the reason being, it was a personal choice. Adam was chosen to, he was selected for the English national team at the age of 12, one of the youngest to be selected. And then he's represented regionally abroad, got the medals for England and so forth. And like I said, it was a personal choice for us, for him to be part of the Bangladesh national team. I got a role as Bangladesh national coach as well, and also technical sports director for the Bangladesh Karate Federation, which would always help Adam because I can be beside him throughout his big competitions, the warm-up area. Just having that support of myself knowing how I can push Adam 100%. Exactly what you said, his coaching. He's got a lot of international coaches where we have to travel and they come to us as well. World Games, world champion, a French lady, like I said, the former national coach for Thailand, and also regional Italian coaches and our head coach here in the UK. So I give full credit to all the coaches that have helped from day one. Even where he said when he was 5, funnily enough, we're no longer part of that club. That club kind of, during COVID, had issues. We had to move from there because, in a way, they possibly went into administration. I don't know the full story regarding that, but they were very nice people that supported Adam. Gave Adam his first break, where they took him to the English Q grade nationals and he got gold there. That was a month before lockdown, which I think was February 2020, right? And then we thought, oh my God, it's like Adam was achieving, it's like that was for us his big break. And then COVID hit. And then we thought, it's all over. Because, it's like, what do we do? There's no coaching, there's no dojo for us to go to. And that's where I started kind of getting a bit more involved. Of course, I've got a slight karate background, nothing to his level. Just a student in the club and just went up my rankings and so forth. But I just felt that I needed to help him at that point just to get over that little hurdle until we get back into COVID kind of finishes and dojos are back open. If you remember gyms, we couldn't go to gyms and things like that. And then so he just started getting better, was more interested. That COVID time was so good for us. It's funny because I'm not saying it's good as in like the illness was going around. We came together as a family. I taught him how to ride a bike. That's something in this generation kids end up missing. Yeah. Our generation was different. Riding a bike, we all did it. It was quite norm. We went to, there was this open area where he practiced his karate, strength and conditioning. He used to run around in circles and, hours just to get himself strengthened up, and he enjoyed it. And even for us cycling from Newham, we used to go ride all the way to the new West Ham Stadium, and he'd have a little ice cream and we'd ride back. So it's that bonding, plus that bonding and also the exercise that came without realizing it was an exercise.
Adam, two questions in one. Your general day-to-day, how do you keep fit? How disciplined do you have to stay? Tell us a little bit about that. I mean, what I always ask athletes who come in here is, how's your sleeping pattern? How's your social media usage? Because these are things, for me as a coach, they're vital to somebody. If somebody wants to just participate in a sport, that's absolutely fine. Carry on eating junk food. Carry on living the life the way you wish to do. Don't sleep on time, do whatever. But obviously, if you're going for elite level participation and success at elite level, things have to be very, very different for you, which I'm assuming have been very, very different for me from a very young age. So tell us about your normal training regime, not your educational regime, but your training regime, how it's been and how different it was. So your dad mentioned that you were preparing for the Commonwealth Championships for about a year. So generally, what's your training regime? And did you have to up it in preparation for the Commonwealth?
So normally every day I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and then I'll normally do an hour's training in my home gym, which so I'll do all my katas, I'll do some running, some strength and conditioning, and I'll go to school. Then after I come back from school, sometimes I'll have training, sometimes I'll probably do my own training or training at my club. So then I'll probably do an hour and a half of that. Then I'll eat my second lunch, because I'll need to eat 5 times every day. And then normally after that I'll have like a 1 hour screen time, so I can do whatever I want. And then I'll have like dinner, and then it's just basically go sleep around 9:30, 10 o'clock.
What's the difference between kata and kumite? Because Adam is proficient in both, whereas from my limited knowledge and understanding, most of the people I know who are involved in karate, they usually excel in one. Yeah. But he's quite proficient, he's obviously very proficient in both disciplines. Can you explain the difference?
Sure. So in karate, there's 2 disciplines in competition, the kata side and the kumite side. Now, very few international athletes, we could probably name them, in one hand kind of thing, are able to or have a world ranking where they're able to compete in major competitions in both kata and kumite. Adam has always been, for us, karate has always been kata and kumite. It's the training we got in our very first dojo. It was the first half an hour kata, the second half an hour kumite. So it became normal for us. I'll get Adam to quickly explain what the both formats are. So the kata is
a choreographed pattern of martial arts movements, and kumite is just sparring, so you just fight one another.
Yeah, so most people will know the kumite side, where 2 people are fighting and you gain points and you fight for a certain amount of time, and then either you beat them, like for example, it has to be 8 points clear and still be within the time, you win, or whoever's got the most points at the end of the bout. The kata side, just like he said, there's 102 katas in the World Karate Federation list. So our federation is the World Karate Federation, the only federation that is recognized by the Olympic Committee. So there are, again, as you probably know, in boxing, you've got WBA, WBC. So different federations within karate. The WKF is the biggest federation, supported by the Olympics. And the kata side is, you will choose your kata, and then you will compete against, so you will do your kata, the judges will mark it, and the other athlete will do theirs, and then the judges will then decide who's done the better kata. And that's how you go through rounds and get to the final and possibly medal. Now, what I would say is, for us in the Commonwealth, when he got the bronze medal, that was the biggest achievement. We were so proud. We could have gone home with that.
Because he achieved the gold in the kumite,
Kumite side, Yes.
and bronze in the kata.
Kata.
So
Very
two medals at the Commonwealth. This is very unique.
Very unique. Very few people would get the opportunity to do both disciplines, like you said. And so for him to do both, representing Bangladesh as well. And the biggest thing was that gold medal that's sitting in front of you, for Bangladesh in the Commonwealth Championships in karate, he is the very first athlete to get that.
Absolutely astonishing.
Very first athlete. And what I'd like to say, Adam, can you just pass me that frame? So this is basically recognition from the Bangladesh Karate Federation, and I'll just read it out.
Sure.
Or actually, I'll get you to read it out. That'd be lovely.
Again, first of all, congratulations on that. So, viewers, this is, again, just to give you very nicely framed as well. So this is excellent recognition from the Bangladesh Karate Federation, issued from Dhaka as well. So, the Maulana Bashani Hockey Stadium. And it reads, Dear Maheen Adam Choudhury, on behalf of the Bangladesh Karate Federation, I would like to extend our heartfelt congratulations to you on your outstanding achievement of winning the gold medal at the Commonwealth Karate Championship. Your dedication, hard work, and unwavering commitment to excellence have made us all incredibly proud. The entire karate fraternity of Bangladesh applauds this remarkable achievement of yours, and you have become a source of inspiration to all in Bangladesh. This remarkable accomplishment not only showcases your personal skill and determination, but also reflects the growing strength and potential of karate in you. Your victory serves as a source of inspiration to aspiring athletes across the country and elevates the status of Bangladesh in the global sporting community. We are truly honored to let you represent Bangladesh and are confident that this achievement is just one of many milestones in your bright future. Your success is a testament to the power of perseverance, discipline, and the relentless pursuit of greatness. Once again, congratulations on your well-deserved victory, and we wish you continued success in all your future endeavors. With deepest appreciation, and this is signed again by Muhammad Muazzam Hussain, who is the acting president of the Bangladeshi Karate Federation. And again, congratulations to you both. Astonishing. I mean, it's astonishing. These things don't happen by accident, by the way. So my next question to you, and I've touched a little bit about your regime here today, but just going back to competition, and again, because it fills me with so much pride and excitement about your, with regards to your success at the Commonwealth Championship. So when you were there in South Africa, okay, beyond that, I think from my research on you, major medals in terms of championships, you've accumulated 33 gold, silver, bronze in total. You've traveled to countries like South Africa, the United Arab Emirates, Scotland, Latvia, Estonia, Czech Republic, amongst many others. Obviously, you mentioned before that you've traveled to 47 countries. Too many for me to list, by the way, but I thought I'd mention a few as well. So you're highly traveled as well. I think a lot of people who will be watching this will already be inspired, but will be looking to take inspiration from you. So we're now putting you into competition mode. Just before competition, so you've completed your flight, your dad might be with you, might not be with you, your coaches are definitely there. You're now ready for competition, the day of the competition. What's going through your head? Let's talk about the night before. What do you do to get yourself ready? Do you need to psych yourself up, or are you somebody who doesn't need to bang your head against the wall? Some people are going to a meditative state, for example, and they just focus on the task at hand. Some people like to be a bit loud, but each and every person has their own ritual. What's your preparation ritual, let's say from starting the night before and then the morning and throughout the day?
So normally before a competition, the day before, so before I sleep, I normally stretch to get myself into like a calm mood. And then I would go sleep, and then when I wake up, I wouldn't like touch my phone or anything, so there are no distractions, and all I focus on is the goal to get the gold medal. So I don't think of anything when I'm on the mat. I just think of getting the gold and just like accomplishing, like, yeah.
So basically what you've said here as well, again, I've picked up some very, very useful points here. Focus is very, very important. Very, very important for you, isn't it? So
yeah.
To remain focused. And again, do you agree, Mustaq, that modern day problems, some of us will look at So what Adam has said here is a phone. I know some parents, and I work at grassroots level with parents and children who are of school age. Some parents will say, look, that's a modern day problem. It's not, the phone isn't a problem, shouldn't be a problem. But at the same time, they're not acknowledging that their children have got severe developmental delays, achievements in terms of their achievement, in terms of their progress, simply because of that very smartphone as well. On that note, you know the famous saying, Mustaq, it takes a village to raise a child. How effective has Adam's development been, not just yourself and his mum and your extended family network supporting him as well, but in terms of his coaches and his well-wishers, potential sponsors, if any, just strangers on the street, and we'll come to the school bit later on as well, but just how important has other people played in terms of helping raise him?
Most definitely. And the funniest thing is, I'll quickly mention before I forget, is after he won that gold and we were leaving the venue, this is South Africa, Durban, we don't know anybody there, apart from some of the delegates, because we had meetings and because a national coach, I had to sit with them and everything. But general public, I wouldn't know, or people that have come from other countries. And as we were walking and we're crossing the road, and this gentleman was driving past, hooted and said, really good fight. We have no idea who this was, but there was someone who's nothing to do with our camp, because Adam was the only representative there. Someone that must have been watching his fights and appreciated that. Another thing, the final in the Kumite was against a South African. Now remember, it's being held in South Africa.
On home turf.
On home turf. So it was like a scene from, I don't know if you remember Rocky IV in Russia, the Ivan Drago and Rocky. Of course, not that intense, but you can get a little picture of what it was like. And their fight was actually on big screen. So even people that weren't following that actual the fight's going on, because it's on big screen, people are looking at it. And it came to a point, of course, there was like, my wife, she's always there with us, she's recording. And then we can hear, because when I'm there coaching and he's fighting, we can't hear, everything's blocked. We can't hear what the crowd are saying, if it's positive or negative. But afterwards, when I watch the footage and I go through things and I can hear so much support for the South Africa. And this boy, of course, to be at that position, every Commonwealth country is sending their best in. Yeah, it's their top boy. And for Adam to beat him 7-4, and then afterwards, there was that appreciation from the crowd. They were applauding him. Because of, and like you said earlier on, the humble. He is one of those fighters, and we've taught him. In Kumite, you bow to your opponent, you bow to the referee, and he always acknowledges the other coach and raises his hand. Not many athletes you will see would do that. And at the end, win or lose, he'll acknowledge the other coach as well. He'll give the other boy a handshake or a hug, whichever happens in that spare of that moment, and they'll work off. And that happens with him, and that's something being put into him, win or lose. Because it's discipline, it's self-respect. You'll win, and the emotion, that footage, and I saw it afterwards because I was in tears. We were in the middle of the mat, he was hugging me, and at that point we realized what he had achieved, what we had planned. Again, sorry, that was, I went totally off track. Screen time, he gets his screen time. But initially when he was little, it was more of a kind of like we were in control. Now we're not in control. He knows what's best for him. We also do other activities, like a couple of days ago, what did we play?
Cluedo.
We played Cluedo, right? We play Monopoly, things like that, because again, he, as parents, both myself and my wife, we give him that time. And we sit together, we eat dinner, we travel. A lot of times when I'm traveling, I have to actually travel to that country a day in advance to have him registered. And then he and his mum will come a day later, just before competition day, so we don't miss too much time off school. Okay. So there's been his very first international competition, and there's so many people involved, and it was in Bulgaria, the Sofia Open. I couldn't take time off work. we had to, someone had to pick him up from school. My wife picked him up from school. My sister-in-law had to meet me at a train station where I had to give her my car for her to drive my car home. My brother-in-law got involved dropping my wife to the train station. Another sister-in-law had to take us to the airport for us to go to Bulgaria. His first international medal, he got a bronze. And that bronze was given to him by the president of Bulgaria. So the actual, not the karate president, the president of the country, because they appreciate karate there. And so a lot of people have always been involved. They appreciate, they understand, they know so much about, in our family, karate terminology now. So yes, a lot of people are involved just for one individual. And we enjoy it. Honestly, Prava, it just feels, me traveling with him makes me feel young.
Great. Yeah.
It makes me feel young.
It's greatest benefits there.
No, and again, I have not achieved, he's representing the country, the region, he's represented his club, his association. I haven't represented my street in my lifetime. What he's achieved at this age, very few people can say. And I'm a proud father. Brilliant. My wife, proud mother, proud grandparents. Everybody, you know, they're very, very proud. And he's very likable, not only within our family circle, within that karate circle as well.
How do you balance your training regimen with your education?
So mostly I don't get that much homework, but if I do, then I'll normally complete it the day before. So if I have a trip, I'll normally complete it on the plane and sometimes print it out, or even on the car ride to the airport, and I'll normally get it done by then. But if I don't, then on my way back from the competition, after the airplane ride, then I'll complete in the car back. So I normally complete it.
Again, in your young career, you may or may not have experienced this, but if you were to face a significant challenge in your career, so with a lot of people who are involved in karate or sports like yourself, I think one of the examples is somebody who faces injury, for example. You know, it curbs their progress. For some people, it could be the end of their participation in a sport or a discipline as well. How would you look at it if if you're running late for a competition, or if you're facing a challenge? How do you look at it? Do you look at it as a problem, or do you look at it in a positive sense that, look, it's something I can control, I can deal with it, and I can overcome it as well? What's your thoughts when you face something which is different and something which is challenging for you?
So I wouldn't feel stressed, because if I do, then I'll panic and I'll end up losing it. So I just feel calm and just deal with the problem most of the times. So even with injuries, in the final in the Commonwealth, I was injured twice. The first aid had to see me twice, because the boy he hit his shoulder up my neck, and then he kneed me in my knee as well. So I didn't get angry or anything. I just overall I was in pain. I still carried on and and then I won.
So name me either your toughest opponent or one of your toughest opponents, whoever comes to mind, whichever one you find easiest to share with us. And what did you learn from them?
So my toughest opponent, so in a competition they were doing different categories. So it was to do with height, not with age. So I was 12 years old and I was fighting a 15-year-old boy who I still know to this day. And he was a little bit taller than me. And at one point I was winning the fight, but then I ended up losing around the last seconds. So I realized that height doesn't matter, nor does age. It's just how you approach things. So your mentality and your strategy towards fights.
And what's your favorite karate move or technique to execute, whether it's in training or in competition?
So in kumite, one of my favorite moves is called ashibarai. So or sweep. So you take someone down to the floor and you punch them, and it's 3 points in a normal fight, which is the most amount of points you can get within a technique.
Brilliant. How has karate shaped his character over the years?
Now, see, again, the previous question you asked him, I can't recall what it was. What was the previous question? Regarding if he's running late or anything like that. There's no pressure on him. And why? Because myself and my wife take that pressure totally away. Every arrangements, because we're with him all the time, he doesn't need to worry about his flight times or arrangements to get picked up from school or what to wear. He doesn't need that in his life because he's got his other, we've made them his priorities. Train, the schoolwork, everything like that, wake up in the morning, he has his own regime. The stress side, we'll look after that. And that makes a big difference. And when you see like the big sporting superstars, Ronaldo and people like that, they have their own people in place to take care of those issues so they don't get involved. Of course, I'm not saying he's a superstar, but that's how we've been working with him. He doesn't need to worry about what competition. He'll know about the competition. He'll choose his competition. He'll know he has to be there. We'll make sure he's there.
He's there.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I'm going back to you again. So recently, Walid Ali, a local boxing legend, he actually inaugurated the very first Bengal Sports Awards, Bengal UK Sports Awards, which was held at a very nice, he had at the Truman Brewery. He had a lot of sports people there, men and women there. Very, very high achievers from our community. Very, very inspirational people there as well. We had a show here as well where we talked about it as well. And you were unanimously one of the recognized winners there as well. So I've got this saying, Adam, that there's two types of plaudits and recognition. Number one is you get something on the global, which you've been very fortunate on a global stage, which is this, the Commonwealth Championship, which is the first of hopefully many, many more to come. Then you've got something which is at the grassroots local level, which never gets any recognition. It's never going to get you big headlines in the mainstream media. But for me, sometimes that recognition is so much more important because it's given to me from people who know me or know my parents or who know my uncle and my aunts or my grandparents, and they know me without the mask on. So for me, sometimes that recognition, that, as people call it, that lowly recognition at grassroots level is that much more important because I'm being appreciated and celebrated by the people who really know me. Why I said that is, number one, to raise that awareness amongst you because you're only 15 years of age as well. But did it feel special being a part of that celebration?
Yeah, because it was a different experience. I've never been to one of them awards or anything. And even though I've performed in front of a lot of people, I was just like held on the spot because I had to say a speech about my medal and everyone was clapping for me. So it was a completely different experience, but I didn't know anyone except from my family. So just like strangers clapping for me, and I felt very appreciated.
I firmly believe that in the future you're going to face a different challenge, a different set of predicament, which means that I can see you winning so many plaudits, recognition awards, for example, that your next mode of thinking would be, how do I keep my feet on the ground now as well? But this is now brings me to your dad as well here now. What role do we as adults who are important, parents, coaches, mentors, the local, non-blood related uncles and aunts, I don't know, what role does the community play in helping to keep him firmly with his feet on the ground?
We just shouldn't get carried away. Because the fact of the matter is we need to know that certain athletes, like say for example Adam, we want him to get further up the ladder. World Championships. He's actually been to a World Championship. He's been to a European Championships and medal there. But what we need to do is keep giving them good feedback. And then also, it's a cultural thing we have where the children show respect to the adults. If we continue that cultural behavior, nothing should go wrong. Nothing should go wrong, I believe.
How do you respond and keep calm or deal with high pressure situations? Because you face a lot of high pressure instances and moments, especially during competition. So how do you keep yourself in check?
So if something making me like, if like, so I wouldn't, I'll just stay calm, and my parents help as well, but they're calm as well. They don't like apply more pressure on me when I'm like, say if I'm on the mat or anything. So it like puts me into like a mindset that I'm calm. I can do whatever I want.
And what does mummy always say to you before you go into a match?
She always makes me read Ayatul Kursi, which it like helps me.
Amazing.
Like achieve my goals and like not like prevent me from getting injured or anything.
Do you feel, Adam, that karate has significantly helped you in terms of building up your character in life?
Yeah, because before I started karate, even when I was starting karate, I was like really shy. I wasn't talking to anyone. But now I feel more confident. Like, and now I'm on the show, I feel confident. I don't feel shy or anything. Like I'm able to freely express my feelings about karate and my life and everything.
Mustaq, your current involvement with the Bangladesh Karate Federation, so you've recently been invited to do some work or liaison with them, consultancy with them. Yeah. Tell us a little bit more.
Right, so at this moment in time, due to the interim government we've got in Bangladesh, so a lot of things have kind of been held back. But again, Adam's been given, it's actually more through Adam that I'm getting invited and so forth to go to Bangladesh to meet the senior people within the Karate Federation. And because we're based in Europe and we see a different side to how maybe the Bangladesh authorities see and how karate is in Bangladesh, so they wanted us to go down there, and maybe the word modernize is possibly the word we can use in this feature, is just help them modernize the karate, because the ability is there, but maybe the correct opportunities the athletes aren't getting. And where I've also spoken to the karate president, I've also been given the authority to maybe scout, because there is a Bengali community in karate that might not be recognized or seen. And for us, that was the case up until just recently. So, yeah.
Thank you. So Adam, last question for you. I know you're only 15, but obviously you must have thought about it as well, and it's a big part of your development on this stage as well. So what legacy do you wish to leave behind for people who look back on your career, inshallah, and your celebrated career, hopefully? What legacy do you want to leave behind? What message do you want people to take from watching you, from being around you, from learning from you?
I want people to think that nothing is impossible, even though you come from not a good background. You can still achieve things that not many people can achieve. Even like some people in Bangladesh, they might never have the chance, but even if they keep trying, they might end up getting the chance to like perform or do well or do good in life. Yeah.
Thank you very much for both of you coming into the studio. Now, viewers, again, the sports show does not fail to disappoint, and we end the year with these guests in tow. A lot learned from the sports show here today as well. Number one is discipline. Any sports person you talk to will always talk about the importance of discipline. But also we learned about mentoring, not just from the coaches, but also from the variety of people who surround. And we talked about how it's important, how a village, it takes a village to raise a child, how important the roles of people around a child. And Adam is still a child, he's 15 years of age. We also celebrated the fact that at the age of 15, Adam has gone to, he's traveled to 47 countries. Some people will not even travel to 4 countries in their lifetime. He's traveled to 47 countries. He will travel to a lot more, God willing, in the future as well. 30 plus medals in his career. But at the same time, one of the most important aspects which I picked up, and the most, one of the greatest qualities which I picked up from him here is his humility. and his sense of gratitude. He obviously has a very, very strong relationship with his parents and his coaches. The respect element is important there as well. He goes to a great school. Education is very, very important. It's paramount for him, and the two go hand in hand. So he's not going to forsake one for the other at the same time as well. Again, from the sports show, we wish Adam and his parents the greatest of success in the future, and we hope to see them both back here in the studio again and again to talk about their great successes as well. And lastly, without you, the viewer, the sports show is nothing. So we'd like to end the year by saying goodbye to you all, and we wish you all a happy new year. I'm Emdad, the Wandering Londoner, and thanks for watching the sports show.